Hi, Sue. This is Ann Tucker. How are you?
Good, Ann. How are you?
I'm great. Everybody, Sue and I are talking today about breakthroughs around our children and our experience with our children. And I'm going to ask Sue a few questions, most specifically about when Sue stopped seeing her child as having a disorder or disability and shifted to seeing her child, having maybe different abilities and being perfectly ordered, just maybe not in a way we fully understand yet. Sue, can you chat with me a little bit about that? When did you start?
Yeah, I would be happy to.
Differently?
Yep, I would be happy to. So I would say that one huge kind of breakthrough moment for me was when I kind of let go of it's around communication, and there was such an emphasis on him talking, and our focus was on, him speaking, and the focus is on what he was not doing, because a lot of the early intervention programs focus on language development and, comparing them to how a typical child develops. And so there was this constant in my face of what he wasn't doing yet, versus that of a typical child. And so once I kind of, hit my head against the wall enough time and realized he's not developing the way a typical child would develop, and let's look at other ways that he is communicating and what he can do versus what he cannot do, that's when I started to open up and really see how interesting and cool his ability to communicate in all ways was. I mean, that's when I started, like the things that used to, the quote-unquote behaviors that used to kind of frustrate me started to then become a way that I started to understand them as a way that he was communicating with me. And one example would be that he would play music all of the time, pretty loud and repetitively. And so, some would think that that's a behavior you just want to stop. And I said, well, wait a minute, let me listen to actually what these lyrics are or even feel the music. And so once I did, that's when I started to realize that what he was connecting with in lyrics was exactly what was going on in our life at that time. And so he was connected to our family. Go ahead.
Right, and I'm sorry I just interrupted you, but Tommy does have a way of picking out music that relates to what's going on with you and your family. Can you give us a couple of songs or a couple of instances where he picked up on the collective energy of what was going on in your home and played that
absolutely.
for you? Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, and it's evolved over time. So in the beginning, it used to be songs like Avril Lavigne, Why'd You Have to Go and Make Things So Complicated, because we had so many therapies going on. And so, it was complicated. Our life was complicated. And so I'm like, oh, my God, he is showing me that, it was very complicated what was going on. So that one was very telling. Yeah. Another one, he really was into Tarzan, so the Tarzan track had a song, You'll Be in My Heart, and it was really, I know, tears would flow because I needed to hear it. I needed to see that he was really connected with us, because it was, hold my hand, it's going to be all right, were the lyrics, and then I am here. So, I really needed that connection with him, and I was getting it then through music, and I started to then become excited and curious, and wow. So, at the time when things were heavy, it was those kinds of songs, and then it would evolve over time where, then I started to get a better understanding of, this music is, if it's rising something up in me, if I'm getting emotional about it in any way, in any kind of fashion, then I would pay attention to it and knew the lyrics were for me. But then over time I realized that he did have this gift, and so he would connect songs for other people. And that's when he started to his language did start to evolve, and it was, we could communicate with him at that level and ask him to pick out songs for people. So, and if I didn't honor that gift from an early stage and let it evolve in its natural way and try to block that behavior, he would never be able to have exhibited this gift. So it's just a great example of,
that's a huge
kids.
breakthrough.
I know.
And I love that. If you had kept trying to extinguish that or put that behavior of playing the music repetitively over and over again on extinction, you never would know the gifts that Tommy has. And so and I was telling you earlier that, with my own breakthroughs with my kids and in my own prayer life, I would ask for something, but always have in the back of my mind that if there's something even better out there, let me be available for that. And it sounds like you did that almost intuitively. Like, okay, maybe Tommy wasn't having conversations with you, but he was connecting in an even bigger way and showing you he was there, even in a more elegant way than that language could be used.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I just have to give out him one more shout out around videos, because I know a lot of the kids are attracted to videos and repetitively playing them and stuff, and certainly he did a lot of that and still does actually. But in the beginning, and it's different now, but in the beginning, again, oh my God, we need to make that stop. Or we'd go to the library and he'd always want to get all these videos, and they're always like the younger videos, the PBS Kids, like all that stuff. And this is as he was getting older, so it was, bringing up emotions in me, like we're on that whole, what's typically developing thing. And, I started to say, well, wait a minute, let me pay attention to what the videos are. And the titles were like, Grandma's coming home, and my mother had just come back from vacation, or was coming back the next day, or Dad's really sad, and my husband had been laid off just right before that. So he was picking videos that were, again, a way of connecting the dots of what was really going on in our lives. He was just using that as another form of communication for him to connect with our family, to show me that he was connected, and also help himself. And so over time that's evolved where now oh my God, he's so connected to video. He's always recording things, and he's got his YouTube channel now where he puts stuff up on. And again, because I just opened up to his gift of there's something in these videos for him that he's using as a way to stream communication. Let's see where we can go with it. And I didn't fight it anymore. And so now he does some pretty typical developmental stuff, things at this point with YouTube, with using.
And I love that. I love that once you decided to drop your anxiety around Tommy's however old and it's picking out quote-unquote preschool videos, once you drop the anxiety around it, he's showing you that not only is he way beyond developmentally appropriate, because he's showing a ton of empathy for what's happening in your life, where a typical preschooler might not be able to demonstrate that. So, no, I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. So those are a couple of my breakthroughs. It really, it is. It's wonderful to start to look at your kid as different versus disordered, because it just opens up a whole world of opportunities and excitement for the whole family. It really does.
And, the one other thing I wanted to add, which is also kind of my story too, is that once I stopped looking at what was quote-unquote developmentally appropriate for whatever age and what was typical for, age 6, age 7, age 8, once I dropped that, okay, I don't have typical. I never was meant to have typical. I'm not typical anyway. And so once I dropped, I'm not. Shocker. I know you're stunned. Yeah, I know you're shocked. But once I dropped that they don't have to be typical, and who wants to be typical, because you could get something even better than typical. Who wants to be run-of-the-mill and average and ordinary?
Absolutely.
So, okay,
that's not what we're here.
Too.
Right, yeah. I mean, they're here to show us to fully express ourselves, and being quote-unquote normal is underrated for sure. So,
definitely.
Yes, great conversation. Thank you, Ann.
Okay, thanks, Sue. Take care.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye.